mom is one of the good guys, and she's got a couple of good friends with her, going to make sure everybody knows that she did the right thing when she, you know,
She killed Jim.
Right.
Amanda's mom killed someone, and she went to jail.
Well, that's true, but what Amanda's mom did was different from what your mother did.
I'm
not
gonna
the
go
same.
play Space Busters.
What about your lunch?
I'm not hungry.
Well, at least drink your milk.
Hi.
Hey, Stuart, come on in. I'm sorry, Brooke's not here. She's at the courthouse for opening day.
I know. I stopped by the courthouse to wish her good luck.
Well, if you're here to play detective, I've got Jamie upstairs, so it's not...
Well, in a way, I sort of did. I figured, A, Brooke is going on trial for murder today, and B, Jamie must be pretty scared. So C, I should come by and see if I could help.
Well, to tell you the truth, I don't know who needs your help more. My son or Brooke.
Don't let the jury see you sweat. That's what you pay me for.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will begin with the attorneys making their opening statement. Let me remind you, this is not the same as giving evidence. It's more like laying down a blueprint, with each attorney presenting the foundation of his case. And it will be your job, as jurors, to decide if that case is proven during the trial. Now, if that's understood, for the Commonwealth, Mr. McLean.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. What Judge Foster just said is absolutely true. The opening statement is like a blueprint or a roadmap. I'm going to take you down the road a ways to the night that Brooke English committed premeditated murder. Now, the defense will argue that this case is about justice. Justice for whom? The unarmed man who the defendant lured to a meeting place and then shot down in cold blood? We, as a society, cannot accept this. The victim's cries for justice are not muffled by the grave. Brooke English must suffer the consequences of her own actions. To this end, I will ask you to study the evidence, find a defendant guilty of first-degree murder, and send her to prison for the rest of her natural life. For the rest of her natural life.
Ordinarily, I'd be with Brooke, but I think it's important to spend time with Jamie.
Oh, yeah, he's got to be so scared.
Oh, he is. He's afraid they're going to put his mother in jail.
Of course he's scared. Thinks he's going to lose his mom. I remember Scott when Cindy died.
Must have been rough.
It was awful. Just awful. Scott, like he got mad at the world because his mom had died. He got himself into a lot of trouble.
Well, it played out nicely, didn't it? I mean, Scott's a great guy.
Oh, yeah. Well, it turned out that Time was his best friend. Mine, too. That's when we started doing all these long camping trips. It's pretty hard to stay mad at the world when you're sitting in a rowboat watching the sun come up. And you feel the peace just washing over you, and you feel like you're a very, very tiny part of something very big, very perfect. Anyway, that was the beginning of our healing for Scott and me.
Stuart, is different with Jamie and me. For one thing, Brooke's not going to jail.
You really believe that?
Absolutely.
Okay, you hold on to that faith. For you and for Jamie. Because all he knows is his mom's in trouble and he's scared, and he's going to look to you to make it all better.
Right now, I feel like I need him more than he needs me. Excuse me, I think I take him up his milk.
Just two things before you go. Don't make any promises you can't keep. And make sure Jamie knows that he's not alone. That no matter what happens, he's got a dad that's going to be there for him and love him no matter what.
Thanks, Stuart.
Yeah. I'll get out of here and leave you guys alone.
No, don't. Do me a favor, stick around for a while, would you? I mean, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
Jamie's not the only one who needs an extra shoulder right now.
Okay. Dad?
Yeah.
Brooke's gonna be okay.
The evidence will show that Brooke English is a vigilante who wanted your job and his honors job. She appointed herself Jim Thomason's judge, jury, and executioner.
How did this happen to me? How from where I started did I ever reach this day?
Do you think he would mind if I held him?
I think he could stand it.
There you go. There you go.
Hi.
Jamie, this is Ted. He's your daddy.
In closing, I'd like to quote a German philosopher by the name of Friedrich Nietzsche, who wrote, "Whoever fights monsters must see to it in the process that he does not become a monster." Brooke English became what she feared and hated most, a ruthless predator who placed herself above the law. No matter how you do the math, two wrongs do not make a right. Murder cannot go unanswered. Brooke English must be punished.
Mr. Dillon?
Thank you, Your Honor. Folks, before we get rolling here, I'd like to make one point. Any resemblance between my client and Godzilla here is pure hooey on the behalf of the DA. Brooke English is a decent woman. She's raised two great kids. She runs a shelter for homeless people. She was named Pine Valley's Woman of the Year just 2 years ago. She's also a survivor. She just walked away from an airplane crash where unfortunately she met one Jim Thomason, the hero of Flight 149. Some hero, we'll talk about him later. Brooke English is an honest woman. She's honest as the day is long. She admitted right from the get-go that she shot Jim Thomason. That doesn't make her a monster. Doesn't make her a murderer either. Why? Because she didn't break the law. The law is on her side. The law paves the way for every person in this courtroom to defend themselves and their loved ones if their lives are threatened. Brooke English shot a low-life child pornographer who threatened her son, Jamie.
So what do you got there, huh?
This?
Yeah.
This English, this handsome little boy is my son.
That's it, folks. How do you like them apples? Anything the DA brings up, I just throw right back in his lap.
You're the medical examiner who did the post-mortem on Jim Thomason, correct?
That's right.
And your office prepared this chart.
Yes, it shows how the victim was positioned in relationship to the defendant.
These lines here, they show the bullet's trajectory.
Correct?
Let the record state that the defendant shot Jim Thomason in the back as he was leaving the murder site. How many bullets were fired?
4 in all.
Did all 4 hit their intended target?
One bullet entered through the 10th and 11th vertebra and lodged in the victim's rib cage. A second shot was taken in the victim's chest at what appears to be closer range. Bullets 3 and 4 were lodged in the victim's lumbar region.
4 shots total, fired at close range. 3 of them in the back. Could anyone have stopped Mr. Thomason as a perceived threat?
He wasn't going anywhere, not with a bullet in his spine.
Yeah, I guess it would be kind of hard to sneak through a metal detector at the airport, wouldn't it?
All right, order.
Objection, Your Honor.
Milk?
Oh. How'd it go with Jamie?
Very good. He's out there sitting in front of the tube playing Space Blasters. Just completely zoned out. Kind of scares me when I can't reach my own son.
Well, sometimes when life gets too real, it helps to get lost in something familiar.
Don't I know it? It's funny, last year about this time we took Jamie to see his first Broadway play. It was a revival of The King and I. There we were sitting 10th row center. Jamie's all decked out. He's got a little jacket on. He's got his hair all slicked back. And he's, wide-eyed. He's looking around at the audience, checking everybody out. And then all of a sudden, the lights go down, the music comes up, and they started on this first number. And I swear I looked over at my son, and he wasn't even there anymore. He just sort of disappeared into this Broadway version of Siam, wandered into this magical musical world where all you had to do was whistle a happy tune so you wouldn't be afraid. And I bought into it, too. 3 hours I spent in that theater. Some of the best I ever spent with Brooke and my son. Felt like a family. Like nothing could even touch us.
Please state your name and your occupation.
Lieutenant Jerome Jenkins. I do forensics work for the Pine Valley Police Department.
Lieutenant, the medical examiner just testified that any of the gunshot wounds inflicted by Brooke English could have proved lethal. Do you agree?
Well, based on the autopsy report, I'd say yes, definitely.
What can you tell us about the defendant's weapon of choice?
It was a 9mm automatic.
Were there any powder burns found on Mr. Thomason's hands?
No, he wasn't armed.
So, would a warning shot, say to the leg, been sufficient enough to immobilize Mr. Thomason?
Absolutely.
So rather than wound the victim, the defendant opted to use lethal force.
Here, bitch.
No two ways about it. She shot the guy in the back. She killed him in cold blood.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained. Ladies and gentlemen, you will disregard the witness's last statement.
I have no more questions, Your Honor. Counselor?
We have no questions at this time, Your Honor. We would like to request a short recess to confer with our client.
We've had a decent start this morning. Court will reconvene in 10 minutes. All rise.
Trevor, why's the outfit calling the timeout?
Because our client here is pulling a disappearing action.